And most importantly for this step is where I'm going to be cutting the sound hole. Around this, I'm going to be routing some indentations for some marquetry, some inlay, which will serve as the rosette. It's decorative, but it has to be done at this step because there's no sound hole yet, and I need a pilot hole. As you can see, I have a little piece of tape here to keep it from scratching up the top so that I can go all the way around, and I can move this around like so. Taking a slight step backward here, I wanted to basically measure out where I need to, how far out I need to make my cut. Now, if you recall here, I have a template, and the template already has all this done. So this will help me find out what my exact cuts are. And the rosette itself, just stuck in there as a placeholder so I don't lose it. You see it has 3 different rings. It's basically a piece of wood, and it's open at one end so I can reach in and work it around. And that's what I need to do to figure out where to put this. Zooming out a little bit, this is my Dremel. As you can see, it has threads on here that fit in here, and I can just screw this in, and I can use this to lock it into where it needs to be, and then lock it down. So that'll be my outside cut. So giving a little close-up here, I have the rosette here, and you can see that it is not quite as thick as the rosette itself. I will sand this down to be flush with the top when I'm done. What I have here is a diluted mixture of shellac. It's also a thinner version of what I'll eventually be using to finish the entire guitar, but the point of this is to seal in the grains and reduce the amount of sawdust that throws around and make myself a smoother cut. So what I'm going to be doing is basically just dipping this little pad in here and making a rough circle around the sound hole. It's going to be closer to the final color of the top as well. Taking the camera off the mount, you can see that generally a nice even circle. Now to do that 2 more times. As a precaution, I'm going to put another coat of shellac on here to seal the grain so that it doesn't chemically alter the wood for finishing later on. So what I'm going to be using today is, it's called cyanoacrylate adhesive, which is basically super glue. It's crystalline, and it won't fill the void. This is the thin variety, which will just flood in there, and then I will spray this to cure it quickly. I'm going to do the other one here. I'm going to be completely honest, I screwed it up. If you look here, here, and here, you can see the spruce peeking through because I sanded a little bit too much. So I've got to go and do it over again. It took a few days, but I ordered a new one to replace it, and man, they're starting to get expensive. Everything is about twice as much as it was when I bought this 4 years ago. It's crazy. The only part I really need is the middle ring. My two inner and outer rings came out pretty good, so I could set these aside, have them as spares for later on. And what I need to do is just clean this up. That's going to be covered by the neck, so by the fingerboard, so that's not a problem. I have to admit, it's going to be a little bit harder this time because I routed out the sound hole, and as you can see, it doesn't quite fit like it should. So that was a mistake taking this out, but fortunately I do have the routing line from when I did the cutout, which will help me center the jig again. With this unlocked here, if I put this in the same mounting hole in the work board, if I just slide it out, you can see it just wants to be right where it is. That's as far as I can go. So if I slide this around, go around the circle like this, it's going to be right up against the top. So by that logic, if I just unlock this out to a point here, if I find my spot, I can take out little chunks of it little by little, being very, very careful, working from the center out. key thing I have to do is I have to raise my bit up so that I don't cut all the way through the sound hole again. Cut a bigger sound hole this time. So I'll do this part, and this will just slide out. And I want it to be I'm going to try to sight this up. This line is the center line. You see the mounting hole right beneath it here? This is tightened up. And there's the bit. So we're going to go in the middle. Now just lay this on top here for reference. Cut is right about where I want it to be. Just do a little test spot here, which would be hidden by the fingerboard. This will be where the fingerboard is. You'll never see it. So the first pass looked pretty good. And I'm just gonna walk it out a little bit more. Again, doing a little test spot. Okay. Here we are. The real moment of truth is this. Actually, I could probably skim a little off this side here, and we'll see. Okay. Several passes later, inching it out. It looks better than it did before, actually. Not too much play. It was a little too snug before. That was the problem. It was parts of it were popping out. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this in now. Good. Much better. Still some high spots, but no, I'm not going to touch it now.